Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm going to plan my classic happy planner in this layout that I made for the next week, March 25th through 31st. So Easter is Sunday, so I'm going to do something for that. So I'll just cut all these papers and then get started. Thanks for coming. Hopefully you guys like the video. If you do, please hit the like, subscribe, notification bell. So the 25th for today, I'm going to use the Life of the Party sticker book and just decorate that. And while I do that, we can talk about numbers. Or do we want to do Psalms? I guess we'll start with Psalms. So this is just Psalm 49. I guess like the whole thing. Or 1 through 20. Is Psalm 49 longer than that? I don't know right now. Listen to this, all you people. Pay attention, everyone in the world, high and low, rich and poor. Listen, for my words are wise and my thoughts are filled with insight. I listen carefully to many proverbs and solve riddles with inspiration from a harp. Why should I fear when trouble comes, when enemies surround me? They trust in their wealth and boast of great riches, yet they cannot redeem themselves from death by paying a ransom to God. Redemption does not come so easily, for no one can ever pay enough to live forever and never see the grave. Those who are wise must finally die, just like the foolish and senseless, leaving all their wealth behind. The grave is their eternal home, where they will stay forever. They may name their estates after themselves, but their fame will not last. They will die just like animals. This is the fate of fools, though they are remembered as being wise. Like sheep they are laid to the grave, where death will be their shepherd. In the morning the godly will rule over them, their bodies will rot in the grave, far from their grand estates. But as for me, God will redeem my life. He will snatch me from the power of the grave. So don't be dismayed when the wicked grow rich, and their homes become ever more splendid. For when they die, they take nothing with them. Their wealth will not follow them into the grave. In this life they consider themselves fortunate and are applauded for their success, but they will die like all before them and never again see the light of day. People who boast of their wealth don't understand. They will die just like animals. And I just really liked that psalm when I read it. That one's won by a descendant of Korah. So comment down below if you have any insight onto what that means. I know a lot of them are made by David, but some of them are made by a descendant of Korah. But I just liked how it was talking about like we are saved through God and God alone. Like he's the only one who's overcome the power of the grave. He's the only one who's defeated death, which in this time he has not. But even still, they knew that he had the power. Because he created life, he obviously has control over it. But so no matter how wealthy you are, you can't buy life. No matter how wise you are, it's still going to end in death. No matter how famous you are, eventually, it doesn't matter anymore because you're still dead. All the things can get taken away, but not God. Okay, and while I was reading that long little excerpt, we did the 26th. I did the Craft Sensations sticker book. It was sent as a gift, so I don't know how easy it is for other people to find, but it's like Craft Sensations sticker book. And now for the 27th, I'm doing the Happy Illustrations sticker book. I think this is my favorite sticker book. I just really love it. And the next, I guess spoiler alert, but the next one, the 28th, I'm going to use the other Craft Sensations book. They say set 1 and set 2. I don't remember which one I used for which day, but so 28th we're using Craft Sensation sticker book again. And while I do that, let's read another psalm. This is Psalm 50, verse 16 and 17. But God says to the wicked, why bother reciting my decrees and pretending to obey my covenant? For you refuse my discipline and treat my words like trash. And yeah, that's what God is saying to people. Just like, why are we reciting His law to Him? Why are we telling people like, this is the rules? These are what you have to do. I have this great relationship with God and all that stuff. But then, anytime God speaks to us through the Holy Spirit or tries to correct anything, then we just ignore it or pretend we didn't hear it or just say okay and then don't do it. We might as well have not been saying the decrees at all. Like that's worse at that point. Now let's switch to Numbers, the beginning choice, I guess. Numbers 8, 5 through 7. Then the Lord said to Moses, now set the Levites apart from the rest of the people of Israel and make them ceremonially clean. Do this by sprinkling them with the water of purification and have them shave their entire body and wash their clothing. Then they will be ceremonially clean. And it was just a good reminder for me that now we don't have to do that. We don't have to sprinkle them with the water of purification, whatever that may be, or shave our entire bodies or whatever. Well, there's a lot of sacrifices that have to be made, but Jesus still sets us apart. But He is what makes us clean now, instead of whatever rules that they had in the Old Testament. Jesus wipes us clean, and not just our bodies, but our hearts are made clean through Him and His sacrifice. And the next verse was Numbers 9:21 through 23. So verses, I guess. Sometimes the cloud stayed only overnight and lifted the next morning. But day or night, when the cloud lifted, the people broke camp and moved on. Whether the cloud stayed above the tabernacle for 2 days a month or the year, the people of Israel stayed in camp and did not move on. But as soon as it lifted, they broke camp and moved on. So they camped or traveled at the Lord's command, and they did whatever the Lord told them through Moses. Here is the Israelites camping in the wilderness after leaving Egypt, and they're supposed to be following the cloud, and that cloud is God's presence. So if it's lifting, and that's God telling them hey, we're moving on. So they're just following God's commands to stay or move exactly when it tells them. So we don't have clouds anymore, but now instead we have a Holy Spirit in our heart that tells us hey, it's time for waiting, it's time to be patient, or it's time to move and do those things, do these specific things. Again, we don't have the specific laws of old, all the little details of this law, but it's the same God, and He has the same purpose. So we might not have the same details, but that God is still telling us when and where to move. And that's our job, is to move at the Lord's command and do whatever the Lord tells us. And so luckily we don't have to go through Moses anymore. We get to all hear it inside of our own hearts when we have that relationship with Him. So yeah, yay. And the next one is from Numbers 10:1 through 8. It's going to be a long one again. Now the Lord said to Moses, make 2 trumpets of hammered silver for calling the community to assemble and for signaling the breaking of camp. When both trumpets are blown, everyone must gather before you at the entrance of the tabernacle. But if only one trumpet is blown, then only the leaders, the heads of the clans of Israel, must present themselves to you. When you sound the signal to move on, the tribes camped on the east side of the tabernacle must break camp and move forward. When you sound the signal a second time, the tribes camped on the south will follow. You must sound short blasts as a signal for moving on. But when you call the people to assemble, blow the trumpets with a different signal. Only the priest, Aaron's descendants, are allowed to blow the trumpets. This is a permanent law for you to be observed from generation to generation. So it, again, is just we have the same God in the Old Testament and the New Testament. So we don't have trumpets. I don't think any of us have heard any trumpets for when we're supposed to travel or anything anytime recently, but we do have still to listen to God. So now we're the priest through Aaron's descendants. Like, God has given us that power that we are in direct communication with God. And so we get to hear when God tells us to, quotation marks, blow the trumpets, or when we're supposed to be going to people and telling them to move or to leave or to get closer to God in some way. Like, we're supposed to be going in that way. And then just also, like, what are some of those trumpets in our lives that we're missing? Like, when do we not hear? Trumpets are pretty loud, but like, when are we not hearing? Maybe by choice, I guess, since trumpets are loud. But when are we not hearing the call to move, or to the call to the leaders to come, or presenting ourselves? What are we doing instead that we're not hearing those trumpets? And here, the 31st, I'm using the seasonal sticker book and the spring sticker book for my Easter decorations. So hopefully you guys have a good Easter. Comment down below if you have any fun plans for Easter. And our last one will be Numbers 11, 1 and 2. Soon the people began to complain about their hardship, and the Lord heard everything they said. Then the Lord's anger blazed against them, and he sent a fire to rage among them, and he destroyed some of the people in the outskirts of the camp. Then the people screamed to Moses for help, and when he prayed to the Lord, the fire stopped. And so the people were blaming God for their hardships instead of trusting God to get them through the hardship, and not wanting, like, what God offered. Like, yes, they were walking through the desert at this particular moment, but God was offering them, like, the promised land to get there. And it still was fixed by prayer. So Moses prayed and it fixes it. So, like, if we're struggling through that too, we can just pray to God. We can talk about how we're feeling, and that fixes it. Yeah, so that is the end of this video. If you liked it, please hit the like button, subscribe, notification bell, all the things. And I will see you guys next time, hopefully. Yeah. And thanks for watching. And yeah, that's all I got. Thanks. Bye.